Season 4 and Eloise Bridgerton behind closed doors make a perfect pair, don't they? I mean, behind those closed doors, Eloise is brewing up suspense like no other Bridgerton sibling. But fear not, because we're about to fling those doors wide open and spill all the juicy details we've gathered. Replacement for Eloise's book husband introduced in Season 3 to Claudia Jessie, the star of Bridgerton, dropping hints about a potential queer love story for Eloise. There's a lot to unpack. So let's dive right in and uncover what we know about Bridgerton Season 4 and the tantalizing secrets of Eloise Bridgerton behind closed doors. Despite Bridgerton's predominantly straight narrative thus far, there's a glimmer of hope for diversity on the horizon. In a recent interview with Refinery29 Australia, showrunner Jess Brownell addressed the possibility of introducing a queer love story, stating, "I think this is a show about the many ways in which people love. So it only feels right to show all the ways in which people love, including queer love." But it's not just Brownell discussing this potential storyline. Many Bridgerton actors, including James Foon, who portrays Harry Danworth, have also expressed their support. Foon shared his excitement for the prospect of a queer storyline, emphasizing the show's exploration of relationships within Regency-era London's courting season dynamics. As Foon puts it, "It's going to be interesting to explore how a queer relationship fits within that society." With that being said, Eloise, the second eldest Bridgerton sister and fifth eldest Bridgerton, stepped into society during Bridgerton's second season, bringing with her a reluctance to conform to the rigid societal norms of Regency-era London. While Eloise does eventually marry a man in Julia Quinn's novels, the series has shown a willingness to diverge from its source material. This has led to speculation among fans that Eloise could potentially be portrayed as a queer character, a notion that Claudia Jessie, the actress who plays Eloise, doesn't necessarily dismiss. "I've always loved that there's this coding that people have with Eloise," Jessie shared with Business Insider. "There's a strength in her that I think a queer storyline can connect with, and I've always been touched by that notion with Eloise. But yeah, there's definitely room for all of that." Eloise's character is characterized by her sharp wit and independence, making her an engaging audience surrogate. She's also had unconventional romantic storylines on the show, such as her brief relationship with politically engaged printing assistant Theo Sharp in Season 2. However, their romance was short-lived after Lady Whistledown's scandalous revelation about Eloise's association with political radicals. This revelation, compounded by the fact that Lady Whistledown is actually her close friend Penelope Featherington, strains their friendship. If Bridgerton rules dictate that Eloise will eventually have her own season of romance if Netflix continues renewing the show, it's currently renewed through Season 4. While the specifics of her story remain unknown, Eloise's character offers boundless potential for exploration. Claudia Jessie even said, "I don't think Bridgerton would ever ignore romance. It is such a huge part of the show. But the great thing about Eloise is that there's so much room to play." Now, if you think about it, there's a backbone to this whole narrative reminiscent of Brimsley and Reynolds. Brimsley, the Queen's royal attendant, is already established as queer within the Bridgerton universe. His romance with Reynolds in the prequel series, Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story, marks the first LGBTQ+ relationship we've seen in the series. But what became of Brimsley and Reynolds? And why aren't they still together in the current timeline? It seems there's potential to delve deeper into this storyline. Shonda Rhimes, the creator, confirmed on shondaland.com that Reynolds is still part of the picture, even though he and Brimsley have parted ways. As Rhimes noted, "Now, a lot of people think, is Reynolds dead? Reynolds is not dead. There's a lot more I could write about Brimsley and Reynolds. The relationship was sexy, it was fun, and it felt very romantic to watch them. Also, it was a very complicated love. Will Reynolds make a comeback? Will Brimsley find new romance elsewhere?" The door remains wide open for exploration, and you can share what you think will happen in the comments down below. Now, if you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, there's an underlying thread running through it all, stemming from Brimsley and Reynolds. Brimsley, the Queen's royal attendant, has already been established as canonically queer through his romance with Reynolds in the prequel series, Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story, marking the first LGBTQ+ romance in the Bridgerton universe. But what became of Brimsley and Reynolds, and why aren't they together anymore in the current timeline? This opens up an intriguing opportunity for further exploration. Shonda Rhimes, the creator of Queen Charlotte, A a Bridgerton story, confirmed on shondaland.com that Reynolds is still in the picture, even if he and Brimsley have gone their separate ways. Before Brimsley and Reynolds, the only queer character in the world of Bridgerton was Henry Granville, a renowned artist living in London. Through his friendship with Benedict Bridgerton, Henry introduces the second eldest Bridgerton son to a more bohemian lifestyle, a world of individuality, self-expression, and yes, queerness. Could Henry Granville return and receive more development in Season 3 and beyond? It's a possibility, but don't get your hopes up too high, considering Henry hasn't been seen since Season 1. And if you're still holding out hope for a romance between Henry and Benedict, it might be time to let go of that notion as well. Former showrunner Chris Van Dusen clarified to TV Line last March that the Season 1 storyline between Henry and Benedict was really about tolerance in a really intolerant time and showing Benedict in that world. While Van Dusen expressed interest in further exploring that storyline in subsequent seasons, it appears that Benedict's romance may take a different path. On the flip side, there's a prevailing theory surrounding Bridgerton Season 3 suggesting that Eloise's romantic journey in the show will veer away from the book's trajectory. Adapted from Julia Quinn's fourth novel, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, Season 3 primarily zooms in on the romance between Penelope and Colin. Nevertheless, Eloise remains a pivotal figure in the series, especially following her fallout with Penelope at the end of Season 2, which sets the stage for a potentially more intriguing character arc in Season 3. In Julia Quinn's fifth Bridgerton novel, To Sir Philip with Love, Eloise's narrative takes center stage following the death of Sir Philip Crane's wife, Marina Thompson. Eloise initiates a correspondence with Sir Philip, culminating in their marriage. Resigned to spinsterhood alongside her friend Penelope, Eloise's feelings of loneliness prompt her to seek companionship with Sir Philip, ultimately leading to love and the adoption of his children, Oliver and Amanda.